Stick with me as we talk about the Schumann frequency and how it's sped up lately. Does it have to do with the Mandela effect? So we're going to talk frequencies, and there's nothing better than a kitty purring in their frequencies, or a cat who just won't let you do a video without him anymore. Hang in there. We'll be right back. Well, my kitty jumped ship, so it looks like it's just you and me now. Let's talk about the Schumann frequency. Now, for you guys, I know I've talked about it in a few videos and showed some examples, but I think it's important because there's some people seeing this for the first time that don't know what it is. The Earth has its own frequency. Some people say it has its own pulse or heartbeat. And the reason this happens is, I used this example last time, but I think it's a good example to throw in here. Let's see if I can get a good view. But this is a plasma ball. You guys have seen these, right? When we were kids playing on these things, they're still fun. And this is a good demonstration. If you think of the Earth as the little generator in the middle, the Van de Graaff generator, the little ball thing, and the ionosphere as the glass. See, there is, when you have this setup of a sphere inside a sphere, it creates tension, and it creates it creates a frequency, I should say. A frequency, which here is electricity. What I want to get into deeper is that the Earth works the same way. This tension between the two spheres is called the Schumann Resonance, and it is 7.83 hertz. So you can actually measure this frequency, and a lot of people measure it and keep an eye on it. And what's happened since 2014 is that these measurements have changed, and not only changed, like they've doubled. So what do I mean by that? One of my viewers brought an article to my attention by Kathy Forte. And I didn't know if this viewer wanted to be mentioned or not in the video, so I'm respecting their privacy, but you know who you are, and thank you. Here the author talks about and kind of shows some graphs about how they're changing, and it's pretty good. Maybe I should try to get her on the show to talk about it. But I put the question out in my last frequency video, is the frequency of the Earth speeding up? And apparently, yes. And not only that, it's documented. It's one of the first, I hate to use the word scientific studies, but it is a documentation of how the frequency has not only changed, because sometimes it fluctuates, but it doubled. Now, think about that. For as long as we know about, life has been at 7.83. Our DNA has adapted to that frequency, and it projects at that frequency, and it works in that frequency. And now the frequency is somewhere around, sometimes as high as 16. So what is that doing to our DNA? If the planet that all life has tuned into changes its frequency, does that mean our DNA has to adapt and change so it can work in harmony with that frequency? Is the DNA producing a higher frequency now? Is it actually changing itself so it puts a little frequency out that's matching the planet? It kind of also explains why a lot of people feel sort of ill or having physical effects. Think about that, your body's supposed to run at a certain frequency, and then the frequency completely changes. How well do you think things are going to feel or work until you adapt? Because there seems to be a phenomenon with the Mandela Effect where you kind of go through the shock period where you're figuring it out and you're adapting, and some people get depressed or sick, or they don't feel so good, or a big complaint of tinnitus, ringing in the ears, things like that. But then I think your DNA adapts and you adjust to the new frequencies that are coming out, and I think it's in a huge state of flux. I believe that the Earth is starting to vibrate higher. And a lot of people believe that the Earth is moving to a new dimension, as it's going to the fifth dimension, that it's just getting faster and faster with vibrations. And who knows where this is really going to end. This is just the start, probably. I would imagine it has to vibrate pretty fast to break out of this dimensional world. And I think some people will adapt with it and others won't. It'll be very uncomfortable, and I don't think they will do well with the new vibration. And eventually you'll get to a point where, you either adapt or you kind of get left behind. I mean, that's my personal theory. I'm guessing on all this anyway. But one thing I don't have to guess about is that the Schumann frequency is real, and it has doubled. As much as doubled in some times, and it's fluctuating right now. It seems to be changing around. What does that mean? What is? Some people might get scared by that. I prefer to be a positive Patty and think that this is a really cool thing that's happening, and I hope that our bodies change with it and keep up. I think it's going to be a good thing. It's interesting to me that how frequencies are coming about and being talked about so much, and I think this is a really important one to talk about that nobody really is talking about a lot, because to me it is kind of the best evidence out there that something major is happening. I know some people are very hooked on the left brain scientific mind, and they want studies to prove something's going on, and the Mandela Effect is, just confabulation until you can prove it. Something's going on. This is pretty good proof, but I don't really need any more proof. I don't know if you feel like I do, that there's like hundreds of changes out there that you can't just keep explaining away to this 50-cent word confabulation that people like to throw out there. It's I'm sorry, it's just not going to hold water anymore. These all can't be just false memories. I mean, things are flip-flopping, where they're changing back and forth before our eyes. How is that a false memory? How does that happen in a false memory? I can understand if we all thought something was one way, but it changed back and forth, sometimes numerous times, as we watched it. So explain that away. I don't know. Let me get back to being a positive Patty here. I think this is a good change. I'm really interested to see where this is going and what frequency will it end at. I'd be excited to know how high does the vibration have to get. What are your thoughts on this? I'm excited to see where this goes, so just leave your comments below. And again, if you're new to my channel, I've got lots of other stories that don't have anything to do with the Mandela Effect if you want to surf around and check them out. I also have a website where I put some private and unlisted videos at. You can find all those at terranlupo.com. So I'll see you over there. Remember, stay positive and support each other.